Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm so excited to be here again. Um, the message that's coming through this morning. Um, it's for a lot of us who have been going through a lot of revelations. Yeah, that's the word. Revelations. Things that are coming through for you right now that feel like coming through. Sorry, that feel like there's no way out, right? So here's the thing. We create our own reality. I know this is difficult to hear for a lot of us, right? It's like we create our own reality. We are living in a reflection of our own beliefs. Whatever it is that we believe, we create, and it shows up in our physical world. Does that make sense? So the more that we take in from others, from outside sources, it doesn't matter what or who it is, outside source that is coming towards you with the rules, with the must, with the shoulds, right? All of these things are being given to us as this is the truth. And we grew up believing it because as a child, we always believe on the authority figure, whether it's someone who's just older than us. Yeah, let's just put it as a blanket as anyone who's older than us, we believed as truth. Yet, inside of us, whenever we heard something that wasn't our truth, it felt weird. It felt like, huh? It felt like a pause. It felt like questioning it. But for a lot of us, especially Generation X, which I am, um, it's it was you would get in trouble if you spoke against the authority, whomever or whatever the authority was. So we have been living year after year after year throughout our lives, receiving information telling us what is truth, yet knowing that it isn't, and that's when you feel that discomfort. And now, everyone who's here right now, listening to this or doing any type of spiritual work, is working to release that conditioning and begin to tune more into ourselves, into like what is actually the truth for me. So this is really important. It's like a backdrop of like why we create our own prisons, right? And the prison is the place that you feel like there's no escape or there's no way out. How many of us have been in a place ever in your life where you felt like there was no way out, right? There's no way out. I got myself into this position, into this situation, and there's no way out. And then the fear, the shame, the all of those feelings that don't feel good to us keep us trapped in that loop of that belief that there is no way out. And it is created by that belief, right? So let's say you're a child and you took something, you did something wrong, right? You took something you weren't supposed to. You ate the cookie before dinner, right? And then you got caught. And then you feel like, oh, I did something wrong, right? Yet, to the child, when they took it and it felt good inside because that's what they wanted, felt good. But the rule put upon that child that you can't have the cookie before your meal, that's the rule that the kid is breaking, and that makes that child feel like, oh, I did something really wrong. And then that's where the confusion is, the confusion of like, but he felt good, right? He felt good. And if it feels good to you and then somebody else tells you, no, that was the wrong thing, that's where the confusion comes. And then that's when we begin to believe the external force, the external rule, the external authority, and we begin to put these blocks, these little walls around us that begin to create a box. And then we begin to live in this little box with all the rules that we're given. Does that make sense? So we're being given the rules by external forces, not what we feel is right for us. And we believe is the truth. We believe is the right thing. And we create these borders, these walls all around us. And then we feel imprisoned. When I went to high school, I felt there were so many rules and you had to follow so many things. And I literally felt like I was going to jail. And on my yearbook, this is how strongly I felt. It had the name of the school, right? So I'm not going to say the name, but those of you who know me where I went, you know where I went. But it's like the name of the school, and then it said the name, high school. And I crossed out the name and I wrote, um, actually, I crossed out high. So I left the name, and then instead of high school, I crossed out high and I wrote jail school. That's how I felt. I was 18, right? And that's the feeling I had going to school. It was not a pleasant thing needing to go there and needing to act a specific way so that I could feel safe. Because if you acted the way that you wanted to, you would break some type of rule, get in trouble, and then, right? That's how it goes. So that conditioning is what has kept us from living our authentic selves, living the life that we want to, doing the things that make us feel good, raising our frequency because we are excited to live and to do the things that we engage in, the things that we choose. But we create these walls around us so that we can fit in to the society of what we have been told is the right thing. And when we continue to listen to the external voices, the external rules that we continue to follow, as we get older and we become more and more aware and more awake, we begin to feel trapped. And this is why so many people are leaving their jobs. This is why so many people are like leaving their doctors, leaving like the conventional way of living is being left behind by so many people because it feels constricted. It feels like it just doesn't feel right, right? But before you get there, you may be feeling trapped wherever it is that you are, right? And it could be in just one sector of your life. So if you're here, it might be just one sector of your life. And if you're not here, or if you're seeing other people around you, it may be that they feel completely trapped in their life, in whatever it is that they're doing. Like, I'm in this situation, there's no way out, right? Okay, let me just check here the comments. Oh, hi, Jasmine. Say hi if you're here. Okay, so if you're feeling trapped, realizing that you're feeling trapped, becoming aware that I feel trapped, I feel like there's no way out, I feel like there's no way I can do anything. That is the first step of getting out of it. That is called awareness. I am aware that I am in this spot, that I've created this life, this belief that continues to keep me in this little box, right? That doesn't feel good. It feels like I can't breathe. It feels like I can't fly. I can't dream. I can't move because these are the rules that keep me, quote unquote, safe, right? So that is the first step, is becoming aware of it. And I'm going to give you some examples of how we continue to keep ourselves in that box, because I see this all the time. And when I first started down my path of my spiritual journey and I started becoming so aware of what was happening and discovering what I was able to do to help people, of course, the first thing I wanted to do was help who? Everybody, right? And I'm sure you're the same way. As soon as you remember something or you become aware of something, you want to help everybody. But everybody is not ready to awaken. Not everybody is ready to become aware. And I found that the hard way because I was trying to share my knowledge or my new remembrance with people who weren't ready. And I got shut down over and over and over so many times that it just crushes your soul because you're like, no, but I know you can. And it's like, ooh, pushing you down is so bad. It feels so terrible, right? It's almost like, I am so thirsty, here's some water. No! It's like, what? Right? Like, that's how it feels to us when we become aware and we are beginning to see the light and see who we are. And we want to give some of that water to those that we love, and they just push it down and it feels difficult, right? Okay, so the lesson there, just a little off, is don't try to help those who are not looking for the help. Those who aren't coming to you to ask for help, don't help them. Because if they're not asking, if they're not taking the first step of asking you, of coming to you for help for the specific gift that you are becoming aware that you have, then they're not ready to take it and it's just going to fall flat. Okay. It's not going to be good for anybody. Okay. So, hi, Jessica. So when you become aware of these things and you have the gifts, right? And this is where the examples come. Somebody, for example, it's like working their job, they have their degree, and they're working paycheck to paycheck, right? How many of you have been there when you're working to live paycheck to paycheck? Your paycheck is paying for all the things that you need, and then there's nothing left at the end, right? And then if you have an emergency, something breaks down, your car breaks down, your electric bill is higher this month, you are left in a place of despair, because where are you going to find that extra amount of money to pay for it, right? And you are living in this constant wheel of anxiety of like, where am I going to get it from? And I need to continue doing what I'm doing because that is the only way that I know of that's going to bring me the amount that I need in order to keep on living, right? So if you find someone like that and you're like, oh, you can do, and let's say you have a vision or a solution of different things that they can do in order to either make more money or pay the bills off or the debt, right? Or whatever it is that comes to you and you want to give that information to them, you're going to be met with a no because, right? No because. No because. Once you hear the no because, you know they're not ready for any help from you at this moment, right? So the no because could be, and I've heard this many times, no because I've already had X amount of years working at this company, so I'm making this much money, and if I went somewhere else, I will start lower, and I cannot start lower. And over here, I have job security, and if I go over there, I'll be one of the first to be let go if they let go of people. So you start putting in the no, the nays, the why I can't get out of my situation, right? I cannot get out of this because anything else is worse. And you don't know if it's worse. It could be worse, it could be better, but we're not willing to take that chance on ourselves because we are just looking at the no. I am really miserable here, but I'm also very comfortable here because I know what I have to do and what I'm getting. And even though this is just that wheel that I have to keep on going and I cannot take a sick day off, otherwise I'm going to make less money and I'm not going to be able to pay the bills, at least I know what it is. And as uncomfortable as this is better than the unknown of going elsewhere or starting over, right? This is why so many people have a job and they don't want to give that job away to start their dream passion thing that's coming up for them. I'm not recommending for you to do it. I'm recommending for you to start it and start doing both at the same time until the second one begins to reach the amount that you need in order to live and then succeed, right? Because you are still living the 3D world. But this is why so many people don't take that chance on themselves. I did that myself with my own spiritual awakening. My spiritual mentor said, you need to meditate for 30 minutes a day. And I said, no, I can't. I can't. I don't have any time. I am too tired. I'm taking care of the child. I'm working full time. I have no time. And I'm exhausted and I just have no time. And I said this specifically. I believed it. Those were the walls I had created for myself. I created the wall saying, you only have time for XYZ, and there's no more time for anything else you want, right? Not even 30 minutes of meditation. And I fought this for about 2 weeks. And she finally said, you just have to decide that you either want this or not. And that's the key. You must decide whether you want something different than what you have, whatever it is that you created in your little box, your little jail of rules, of this is the belief that this is all I have and I cannot get away from it. You must decide. And a lot of times the decision is attached to money. I don't have money to do that thing, right? I need a vacation. I don't have money to go on vacation. Well, start planning. How am I going to plan? Why would I plan when I know that I'm on a fixed income, right? I'm not even going to allow myself to dream it because I know what I'm making and I know it's not going to be enough and I can't stop and I can't give myself that. I'm going to remain here and not give myself 30 minutes to meditate because I am needed and I am the only essential person to allow this home to keep on running. If I'm not there for the whole time, if I'm gone for 30 minutes for myself, then everything's going to just fall apart. I am making that decision. I am making that belief. And a lot of times we get to a point where everything is just falling upon us. Like this breaks down and that person crosses over and that person gets laid off, and all of these things that are negative happen all at once, one after the other, and we feel more and more depressed and more in despair. Like, what am I going to do now? There's no way out. And a lot of times that happens for us so that we can stop and look at it and decide differently. So it doesn't happen to us like, oh, all of these things are terrible happening to me. You know the expression, when it rains, it pours, right? Who has bought into that expression as a truth, right? When it rains, it pours as a negative. When it rains, it pours as a positive. Can you turn it? Can you switch it? Can you see it differently from a different perspective of like, okay, I have not been listening to my feelings, to my body saying that I'm getting sick, I'm feeling depressed, I don't have any will to just do the things. It's just like I'm doing the same things over and over and over again, and I feel drained and like there's no life left in me. Yet I continue to do it. I'm not listening to that little voice that says, rest, do something different, do something for you. Remember when you were younger and you were engaging in things that filled up your heart because you had no responsibilities, because maybe your parents were paying for everything back then and you just were able to be. But that's the type of beingness that we're being called to remember to be, because that's who we're supposed to be all the time. When we take on the responsibility, we're supposed to continue living our lives to the fullest and to the most joy that we can have each moment while taking on that responsibility. We're not supposed to trade one for the other. We're not supposed to be like, okay, I'm going to let go of all the carefree, all the fun, all the joy that I had, and I'm going to pick up this responsibility and make myself this little box. We're supposed to say like, okay, I'm going to take that responsibility so that I can enhance the joy and fun that I have. But many times we just forget about the fun and we begin to just do the responsibility, and then we get into this little self-made trap. So, long story short, I had to decide to meditate for 30 minutes. And those of you who know me and know my story, it took me about 8 days for it to land. The first couple of days, my child's crying at the door. There's noise outside in the house. I couldn't concentrate, but I continued leaving that door closed by saying, I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes. Even though I really wasn't meditating at the beginning because I couldn't, because there was so much noise outside and I was so worried that the house was going to fall apart because I wasn't taking care of it. I kept the door closed. I kept myself from going out. Actually, the first 2 days I did go out, now that I'm remembering. But I kept that. And after about 8 days, it settled. My family, my child, realized that he was safe without mommy for 30 minutes. He began to realize that I was coming back. He began to realize that this was my time and began to detach. And I began to be able to fall into my own space and actually do the meditation. I had to choose that in order to get out of this little box that I had created, saying to myself, I cannot do it. I don't have any more time to do it. I'm giving you that specific example because that is the first thing that I can recommend to you if you're feeling stuck in whatever it is in life that you're going through right now and you feel like there's no way out. I can't, I don't have, all of those things are coming up for you. The first thing that you can do for yourself is take 30 minutes out of your life to meditate, to breathe. Just breathe. Take those 30 minutes for yourself to just do the inner work. And the inner work is as simple as breathing. You can choose any beautiful music that you like as background and just lay there or sit there breathing, concentrating on your breath. What is that going to do to bring me more money? What is that going to do to help so-and-so who's sick? What is that going to do to get me out of this job? The circumstances around you are not going to change unless you change yourself first. When you are taking care of everything, the money is not coming in, the relationship is terrible, whatever it is happening for you, you are in this place of chaos within yourself, your whole body. You're feeling this fight or flight. And that fight or flight feeling is not supposed to be constant. It's supposed to be for when you have to run, right? When the lion was coming over to attack you and you're like fighting it and running away so you don't die. It's supposed to be temporary. But because we don't live in the wilderness and the animals not coming to kill us, we have substituted that lion, that what is that called? That part of fear coming towards you with stress, with everyday stresses, with I don't have enough, with needing to meet whatever it is that we need to meet, right? And so we have changed it. We don't think it's a lion coming to us, but our state of being is that one that we need to be on fight or flight. Our cortisol is high. We're not sleeping at night. We're waking up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. These are all signs that your cortisol level is high because you are living in that constant fear of loss, fear of shame, fear of whatever it is, right? So bring in those 30 minutes of meditation. And like I said, just choose any beautiful music that you like and breathe for 30 minutes. Force yourself to just sit there or lay there for 30 minutes. Put a timer, right? I don't have 30 minutes. I didn't have 30 minutes. Guess what? I did. I just believed. I made myself believe I didn't. But I had to break that belief and prove it to myself. And like I said, it took me like 8 days of constant trying it before I was able to see that, oh, actually, I can do this. And that's when the peace started flowing in. So how is that going to help me? When you regulate your system, when you begin to breathe and just calm yourself, you are raising your frequency from that fight or flight, which is a low frequency, to that of calm, of love, of peace, which is much higher. And even if you raise it a little bit, it's better than what you had before. And as you're raising your frequency, what's going to happen? You are going to be aligning with things that are vibrating at that higher frequency. So if you're giving yourself those 30 minutes of breathing, of meditating, of just relaxing for 30 minutes without the guilt of, oh, I should be doing the laundry, I should be doing this, I should fill in the blank, instead of I get to pick on me first and take care of me, even if it's 30 minutes a day. You see the difference, right? Pick that, choose that for you, give yourself that peace, then your frequency rises, and as your frequency rises, you begin to see the world differently. So no, the circumstances in your life seem the same, are the same, but you are different. And so now you begin to see those same situations with different eyes, the eyes of there's a possibility. That's not so bad. I can handle this. This is actually fun. Ha! You're thinking, I know how you're thinking, like, what? That's not fun. But you know what? That actually happened to me. That I saw something that usually wasn't fun, and I was like, wow, this is like pretty cool. Because your perspective changes, because you're not seeing it from being down there in the war area. You are now seeing it from up here, where you're able to see the fire going on, but also you're able to see everything else, and you're able to see the bigger picture. So you begin to change, and you begin to be different than when you were in the fight or flight state all the time, full of cortisol, full of fear, full of like stress, right? You begin to do that by just doing that little meditation. You can choose anything. I mean, there's just so many things online right now that are free, and you can just pick something. You can pick something, whether it's a guided meditation or just beautiful music that you love. Any of them. I have two free ones. I have the love and acceptance, which is only 15 minutes. I have the cleansing rain, which releases anything that you no longer serve, which is also free. And they're on my YouTube. And if you can't find them, message me and I'll send you the link for that. But you can use that, or you can use anything else that resonates with you, that you like, or that you just find. Sometimes you're like, okay, let me put meditation music or meditate, and you put it on YouTube, and one of them, like you'll see a whole bunch, one of them will like jump up, or it will resonate with you. The frequency of the music or the voice of the person will resonate with you more than others. And then that's how you choose. This is not right or wrong. It's just something that feels good to you in the moment. That's how you begin to break free from the walls that you have created yourself in order to keep yourself safe, because you were taught throughout your whole childhood and growing up that that was the deal. That's how it was. And to no fault of anyone who taught you this, because they were taught the same thing. So they're just trying to pass on whatever it is that they were taught, that they believe is the truth, to you. So it's not like they're doing it with malice. They're just doing it because that is all they know, or they knew, or they had. Those were the tools they had. They're passing it on to you so that you can have a good life as they were told and promised that they would have. So just release any type of blame to anyone else, like, oh, why did they do that? Because they just didn't know. Well, you didn't know. I didn't know before now, right? That we are becoming aware and remembering who we are. And now we're beginning to get these tools that are helping us move forward and become more aware and heal. That's the way it is. This is not to blame anyone. This is just to become aware, right? And then once you are able to become aware, what happens is that you don't pass that on to your offspring. You don't pass that on to the people around you, if and when they come to you for help. The best way to help those that you love, that are around you, that you see suffering, it's not by preaching to them or telling them what you know, as I tried to do when I first started 5 years ago. But it's just by living your life and showing them through your example that there is another way, that it can be a different way. I'll give you a second example. You guys all remember the big C in 2020? Where everyone had to go and take something? I didn't. And there was so much fear and so much criticism within my own circle, my family. Not all of my family, but some of my family and their friends, who were all talking about me and how irresponsible I was and how scary it was. And I'm sitting here, not anti anything, feeling like, what? Like, to me, it didn't make sense. I just saw it as, that's not proven yet. I don't want to be part of the experiment. I want to make sure that it's safe first, and then once it's proven that it is, and the studies that show that it is, then I'll take it. I'll be happy to. But that's not what happened. I felt something. Of course, thank goodness, I was already more aware than I had been before. I chose something for me that felt right for me, that was different than what was being taught or told that was the right thing. And I had to fight through that. And maybe you guys did too, with your own circle of friends and families. There was this big, beautiful event that happened at the, I think it was mid 2021. And I was all excited to go. And then they were like, everybody needs to show that they have gotten the certain thing. And I was like, oh, then I'm not going. I want nothing to do with it. I'm fine. And there was this big shift into like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not going to do something that doesn't feel right for me so I can go to it. Like, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything because it just didn't feel like it was the right thing. So yeah, I did miss out on some things, but then I'm like, no, I didn't miss out on anything because actually, do I want to be in a room full of people who believe differently than me? Who are energetically on a different frequency than where I am right now after I've worked all this time to get where I am? No. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it when you go into a room full of people who are not at your frequency. You'll feel it. You'll feel like the odd man in, right? In this room, which I've felt most of my life, but that's a different story. So yeah, don't, now that you're becoming more aware, we are being called, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, to really feel into yourself what feels right for you versus what you're being told to do. This feels right for me, so I'm going to do that. What you're telling me doesn't resonate with me, so I'm not doing it. Or what you're telling me resonates. Yes, I like that. That feels really good. I'm doing it. Right? But check with yourself first. Check whether what you're hearing or seeing or being told feels good in your body, because your body knows it before you know it. Your energetic body knows the answer of what's best for you before your thoughts tell you whether it is or it isn't. Before you start thinking and trying to figure out, like, well, what should I do? What should I do, right? When somebody gets ill and they go to the doctor for some type of diagnosis that they have, and they're like, oh, I don't like that. Let me go for a second opinion. I don't like that either. Let me go for a third opinion. Okay, they're all saying the same thing. I'm going to have to go into it. And you feel yourself going into it with fear because you heard 3 different people tell you the same thing or something very similar, and you didn't like any of them. And then you felt like, okay, well, they should know. They know more than me, so I'm just going to go and do it. Versus, it still doesn't feel right. I'm just going to go with what I feel. Does that make sense? Like, go with what you feel if it still feels wrong. Michael Jordan was, the basketball player. He failed over 100 times. He was benched at the beginning in high school. And he kept doing what he wanted to do because he believed in himself. He did not take what the coaches said or what people said that it wasn't going to work out for him or wasn't good enough. He didn't take that. He just went with what he felt. And he kept doing it, and then he became very famous. Mariah Carey, same thing. She was told by her music teacher that, that was not a good voice and she couldn't do it. And then she kept believing in herself no matter what she was told. She just did it on her own. This is what we're being taught to do. So back to, how do I get out of my little box, my little jail that I have created by my own beliefs? How do I get out of that? The first step is to give yourself that constant time to meditate, to relax, to just release all of this noise and get back to yourself so that you can actually receive the higher frequency where you'll find the answers. Number 2, feel into yourself. Feel into, how does this feel? Does this feel good to me? Or does it still feel iffy? Or does it feel, or do I feel unsure? Do I feel confused about it? Definitely know if it feels bad, right? And we all know what that feels like. You walk into a room and you meet somebody and you immediately feel elevated by their energy, or like, oh, I don't know about this person, I feel kind of iffy. Then they begin to put a smile and say nice things, and then your first instinct of, oh, I don't know if I can trust this person, begins to go away, because the words you're saying, you're hearing, and the facial features that you're seeing begin to match friendliness. And you're like, oh, maybe I was wrong. No, you were not wrong. Trust your first instinct, because it's always the right one. And everything else that comes later is you thinking with your human mind, not with your heart, not with your energetic space that tells you the truth. And then your mind is entangled with the conditioning that you were given, and that's why it doesn't work. It doesn't work to tell you the truth for you. It's only because your mind has been compromised. Compromised by all the things that you have been taught are the truth. Let me read some comments here. Woo, that's comments. I'm currently there right now. I feel trapped and there's no way out. Oh, I hear you. Yep, paycheck to paycheck. How do we transition from our current system now that we have awareness? I feel stuck. Okay, are you meditating every day? 30 minutes. Yes, that's not going to bring you more money because you're meditating, but it's going to change your frequency, your perspective, and you're going to see the different answers that come for you. Very true. Nothing changed until we change and decide. Decide. Yes, I am definitely always in survival mode. I'm reading a book. Everything is figure outable. I love that. And it says the same thing. Really amazing. Things can equal one. Nothing changes until we make a different choice. Yes. Okay. Fabulous. I've never heard of that book, but it sounds amazing. I'll tell you another example. When was this? About the year 2000, I was briefly married to the wrong person, obviously, and it lasted very, very shortly. He was never in love with me, and I knew it. I had all of the signs. I had sign after sign. My guys were like screaming at me. I kept seeing it, and my stubborn ego kept saying, nope, you're going to do this. That's what you want. That's what you want. You can get anything you want. And I just dismissed all of the clues and the messages that I was receiving. So I just did it. And it was a complete catastrophe. And I was really, really depressed when the whole breakup happened. And that depression was really, like, now I know this, back then I didn't. It was an ego death of like, my ego said I could have this and now I can't. So that's the ego death, right? And I was depressed for a couple of months. And my life was going in this place where, I mean, I was so sick, I couldn't even eat. And literally, and I love food. And after about 2.5 months, I decided I had had enough of this depression, of this feeling bad, of this feeling sorry for myself, of my ego death, of like, what's going to happen to me? I had had enough of that. And I made a decision. I was like, what can I do? I literally asked myself this. What can I do that's going to make me happy? Because right now, I'm terrible. Right? I was living day to day crying versus day to day without the money. Right? But it's the same. It's this little box. I had made myself this box that said, that my belief said that if this fails, you have failed. Those were the beliefs that I had created for myself, and I was living in that terrible box. So I was like, okay, what can I do to make myself happy? That will make me excited. I started painting again because I had stopped painting I was painting when I met him. The whole time I was with him, I didn't. And then once he left, I started painting. Doesn't that tell you something? Right? Like my creativity was like, anyway, I started painting, and that did give me release while I was working through it. But I still wasn't happy. It was just giving me like temporary relief. So I decided to take a trip. And those of you who know me or who have read my chapter 13 on the voyage and the return, which is my best-selling book, which is comprised of like many people, um, I decided to take a vacation to Italy. And so this is a completely different country. I had never been to Europe before. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I want to go over there. And that brought excitement to me, right? So I got excited about it. I made a decision. I made the plans within a month. I was there. I went on a vacation within a month. Like I made the decision and everything started falling into place. How? I didn't even know how to do it, but it happened, right? I made it happen because I made a decision, and then each step showed up for me. Like, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? I'll take that step. And I went on this vacation, and it was the best thing ever. You should read the chapter because I tell you a lot more about it. So I made that decision because I had been in that place of fear and despair and shame for so long. And I was like, I don't want my life to continue being this way. What can I do? And I did that. And it completely changed me. And when I came back from that 1 week, my entire life changed. I ended up moving there, living there for almost a year, like releasing everything, having no more shame for what had happened, no more guilt for the failed marriage, nothing. It was so amazing. All of that happened because I made a different choice, a different choice of what was happening here. Like, this is all the same. These are all the same beliefs. These are all the same people. Nothing is happening. I'm trapped. This is terrible. I need to do something different. And I chose something different. And I did it. Does that make sense? So, how do you get out of it? Back then, I was not meditating. I just made a new decision and everything worked out for me. Everything worked out magically. All friends of mine, meaning people who were older than me, and were looking at me do all these things, were commenting to me. I remember this specifically. Like, how are you doing all this? The type of stuff that you're doing and moving usually takes months or years for people to do. How are you doing all this in weeks and months? I didn't know. I was just doing them. It was like one thing after the other, right? Everything moved. Now I know what happened. I made a decision. I chose something that brought me excitement. That raised my frequency. My higher frequency began to attract things that were at that frequency, more things that made me feel happy. And then I just rode the wave. Every time I got the next step, I took action. And it was fast because it was the cosmic energetic wave of high frequency life. And that's what I was doing. And it worked out so beautiful. I could not have planned it. If I had come up with the entire plan of what happened that next year from that moment, I couldn't have imagined it or dreamt it at all. It was that far out. And I just trusted and did it. And you may have had times in your life that you can think right now, in your past, when did something like that happen for me? So think back, because right now you're looking at me like, oh, that happened for her, that cannot happen for me. And no, it happened for everybody. It happens to everybody who chooses. And it doesn't always happen that one time. It happens repeatedly. We just don't realize it. So right now, take a moment and think back any time in your life. It could have been when you were a child or a teenager or like in your early 20s. Just think of something you wanted that brought you excitement and that happened really fast and you completed it. It could be like you decided to go to college for whatever it was and you just did it and you had like a great response from it. You graduated with like great grades. You got a job or whatever it is, right? Think back right now of any time in your past where something you wanted, you decided, and then everything aligned for you and you got it. Okay? So why am I asking you to do this? Because when you do that, you can find your confirmation that you can also do it, because you can. I'm not the like one in the I'm not the lucky one. We're all the lucky ones. We can all do it when we choose ourselves, when we choose differently. So think back and figure out, yeah, you know what? I did do that. Wow. I remember. Oh, I remember there was some type of debate at school, and I decided I was going to do it, and I did it. And it felt great, and everything just was flowing. And I did it, right? Or I wanted to compete here, and I did it. Or I wanted to run a marathon, and I did it. Think back of something that you have done, and then remember the moment that you made the decision. That moment is going to give you a clue of how you make a decision in your life. And then notice how things aligned. And they just happened. It just felt like it just happened. It was so easy. How did it happen so easy? It's because you aligned with the frequency of what you wanted, because you were excited. Excitement about it brings on a high frequency. And then you're like, oh, I'm so excited. And then you're like living on that high frequency that brings you more information about how to get there. So if you're looking right now like, well, how do I get out of this paycheck to paycheck life that I have? Or this box that I have? Oh, I wanted to also mention this part. When you are in this position, your own little box that you created of like, I can't get out of this. It's the same thing over and over. I can't get out of this. And you either read, hear, someone tells you, whatever it is, it appears as a solution. And the first thing that you think in your mind is like, yeah, but. Yeah, but. That but that you're giving yourself is like you're saying, for them, not for me. They have XYZ, I have XYJ. It's not the same. The but that you're giving yourself is you stopping yourself from choosing differently. Is you keeping yourself safe in your own little prison that you've created. Like, let's say it's an older person who needs help moving things, and the kids are like, oh, let's move you into one of our homes. No, because I like my independence. Well, maybe their body independence is no longer there, and that's why the kids want to move the person. And they're like, no, I like my home. Right? I like it here. I like my bed. I like my things. Right? How many of you have had someone in your life that's like that, right? And you're like, what do I do? Or you do bring them to your home, and then it's like this big burden for you. Like, oh, I had to take care of them, and they can't go up or down the stairs, or I have to help them in the middle of the night, or they fall, or something, right? And it creates this stress within you. You're creating that situation instead of like, oh, I'm so glad I'm here to help them. I'm so glad I was here to help them because they had fallen. What if they had fallen in their own home and they were all by themselves, right? So like changing the perspective. Or what if somebody is like, okay, how about I send you someone to help clean the house, right? Because you can't move so much. No, I don't want any strangers in my home. Right? So listen to the no's that you're hearing from other people and that you're hearing on yourself. Because when you're hearing them from other people, that means that you have them yourself, because it's a reflection. Everything in your reality is a reflection of your beliefs. So let's say somebody says to you, hey, how about you do XYZ? And you're like, no, because fill in the blank of whatever you are telling yourself. Why is it a no? Instead, be open. Be open to the thought, to the idea, to the possibility. And instead of saying no as your first word, like no, because, and then give yourself some type of confirmation of why you can't, and then it ends there, give yourself like, that's an idea. Leave it there. Just leave it there. Allow it to live in that space of like, That's a possibility. That's it. Just allow yourself to receive the possibility of something different, even if your mind is screaming, no, because blah, 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 blah. No, 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 you can't, that's not your situation. Just leave it as like, that's a possibility. That's interesting. There's an idea. I'll think about that. Maybe you can say that. Right? Allow yourself to just be open to any little possibilities or any suggestions that come your way. Because when you do that, even if those first that come through are not the right ones for you, you are allowing the universe to give you more ideas, more solutions, more way out, more difference. So you're like, okay, tell me more. Not telling more to the person or to the book or to the video, but to the universe. Give me more. That sounds good. That sounds dreamy. Ooh, that would be nice. Or begin to just dream about it. Wouldn't it be wonderful if that would work for me? Wouldn't it be nice if that worked for me? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Right? Begin to change the words that you tell yourself. Begin to change the transcript that lives in your subconscious that says no because, no because, no because, no because, no because. Right? We're so good at that. We're so good at that because we've heard that so many times. So begin to open yourself up to the possibility of what else is there. Ask the universe, what else is there? When something good or something negative happens, ask, how does it get any better than this? If it's good, let's say you're walking on the street and you find $20 on the street, how does it get any better than this? Right? That's a great thing. You're walking on the street, you lose $20. Oh, how does it get any better than this? Why would you say that? Why would you say, how does it get any better than this when something negative happened? Because you want it to be better than what just happened. Either way, it works. So begin to shift and switch the words that you're telling yourself subconsciously every time. Put yourself in the high vibe so you can begin to shift. Everything is energy. So energetically, when you shift, things have to change. When you are living at a higher frequency, that higher frequency has to match you in the universe. If you're living in your box, in your little box of like, I can't, this is terrible, I feel sick, I feel, depressed, I feel like there's no meaning in what I'm doing, I'm just doing the same thing over and over. Every time you think that, feel that, say it, you are creating it. So begin to shift it. I know it feels like it's like that's too simple, that can't work. That's when it works. The universe is not meant to be complicated. It's not meant to be like, you must do all of these things. You must do this chant or this prayer for 30 days in a row. You must burn sage in the candles and do this spell. Or what? It doesn't have to be that complicated. It's simple. It's just switching your frequency by your thoughts. And if it's difficult, at the beginning it's a lot more difficult. If you feel like you're always like going back to the negative, then begin to say the positive thing out loud. Because when you hear yourself in the frequency of your own voice, it has a lot more power than when it's just in your thoughts. So if you're thinking right now, let me read some of these questions here. I'm always in survival mode, right? So, I just feel that. I feel that I am. I believe that I am. Well, let me change that. I am doing the best I can and things are getting better and better for me every day. I just came up with that. You can come up with whatever resonates with you, right? But like whenever you have a sentence or a thought or a belief, then try to switch it. Turn it around. Find the positive. And then say it out loud. You guys know tapping? I'm not a big fan of tapping, but I know tapping helps a lot of people in the healing spaces. But I just saw a really fast one. So tapping is when you start tapping like here and here and here and here. I don't know. It's different parts of the face as you're telling a story to rewire your subconscious. It works for other people. It does not work for me because it doesn't resonate with me. Not because it doesn't work, but it's because it doesn't resonate for me. If you like that or are interested in that, look it up. But I just saw someone go and do a little reel talking about a fast way of doing it. I was like, oh, that's so much better and so much faster and so much simpler. And what he was showing is like, say what you want that you don't have right now while tapping the left side of your head. So, for example, if you want more money, right? Or if you feel like you want to have an abundance of money, say, I am abundant in money. I have an abundance of money coming to me. Money comes to me easily and freely all the time, right? And I'm tapping the left side. That's the part that you want to shift. And then you go to the right side and you say something that you know is true right now. I'm Valeria. My name is Valeria. I am Valeria. I'm Valeria, right? So I know this is the truth as I'm saying it, tapping on the right. And when I'm doing the left, you're tapping and saying what you want. And so then your brain begins to communicate and see it both as truth because you know you are, when I say I'm Valeria, I know I am. And there's no disputing it in this lifetime right here as I'm speaking to you. So your brain begins to rewire itself. So you might want to try that. You might try anything that resonates with you. As always, guys, take the teachings, take the words that you hear and only take the ones that resonate with you, right? If it doesn't resonate for you, to you, just let it go. What resonates for you, it's for you. And then you take that. And then here's the other part. What resonates with you, make it your own. So don't take it verbatim like she said to do in this order. Do it the way that it works for you because you're different than me. So maybe slightly different will work for you than exactly what I said. And that goes for anything else, any other teaching, any book, any video that you see, right? Take what resonates with you and then make it your own. Shift it so that it is yours, so you can own it. So you, yeah, this feels good. For example, when I said meditate for 30 minutes every day, maybe for you it's 45 minutes. Maybe at the end of 30, you're like, I don't feel ready. I feel like I want to keep going, and you do it. Or maybe it's 15, right? It doesn't matter. You feel into your body. You take the teachings and then you apply them when they resonate with you, but then you tweak them to fit you and your energy, okay? It's always about you, feeling to your body. It's not what anyone else says because what anyone else says is about them. So you take the information that is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I like that. That resonates with me. And if it resonates, it's because you're remembering that it's a truth for you. That's the only reason it resonates. It's the same frequency of who you are. That's why it resonates. And then you remember more of who you are. How? By going within, feeling within your body if this feels right for me this way or shift it. And it could be that it's exactly the same right now, today. And a week from now, you're already shifting it into something that is beginning to feel more like you. Because you're already doing the work and you're beginning to feel more into who you are and you're beginning to remember what it is that you need as your own unique, beautiful, amazing soul that you are. I hope this helped you guys. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to put this on my YouTube. So if you're here on YouTube and you like this and this helped you, please like, comment, and share with anyone else that you feel this would help. With that, I love you so much and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.